Okay, so now let us continue with the second module of our cybersecurity discussion, which is proactive defense and countermeasures. So, as I have already explained earlier, the second module we will be discussing about how do we secure our network, how do we protect our network and our network resources. So, in this module, we will be discussing with technologies like firewall. So I'm sure that most of you would have already come across this term. In many cases, people generally say if you have to protect your network, you need to have a firewall installed in your network, right? So that's true. You need to have a firewall in your network, but a firewall itself is not really sufficient to provide you security from different kind of attacks or different kind of threats. So in addition to firewall, we will also be discussing with something called intrusion prevention system or IPS, right? So in the second module, we'll be discussing mainly about firewall and IPS. Using this, how do we try to identify and block the attacks, right? So to block attacks, we are using firewall in combination with IPS. So firewall and IPS will be used together, right? So that using this, we will be able to stop the attacks, right? Now, not only this, we will also be working with content security. So this is where you will try to restrict or control what kind of URLs or what kind of websites will be accessible to the user. And when user is trying to download some things, right, you will also be able to see if the file that is being downloaded is a genuine file or is it a malware. If it is a malware, you will be able to block it, right? You'll be able to stop user from downloading if the file is known to be a malware file, right? So that comes under content security. And in the same way, if you speak of having a secure communication from your head office to your branch office, right? You want to have a secure communication. You'll also be working with virtual private networks. So you'll be creating a virtual tunnel over internet from your head office to the branch office so that you can securely send and receive data through this VPN or the virtual private network. So how do we actually configure them? How do we install? How do we deploy firewall or IPS into our network? How do we configure them? And using these technologies, how do we control what is accessible, what is not accessible to the user, right? How do we identify if there is some kind of an attack and block them? That we will be discussing in our second module, which is proactive defense and countermeasures, right? So here, let me give you a simple understanding about how a small organization's network would be looking like. So you'll be having internet link, which will be terminated onto your firewall, and firewall is in turn connected to your switch, where you'll be having various devices like say your servers or your LAN computers, printers, telephones, right? Your IP telephones, right? And if you have some Wi-Fi access points, you also want to provide wireless network so that employees who use their laptops or mobile phones and all will be able to access. That is also connected to your firewall. So we can say that this firewall is now acting as a gateway device. So the firewall is acting as a gateway device using which traffic is going out of your network to internet and traffic is coming in from internet to your network. And as an administrator, you are going to write some policies on the gateway. You are going to write some policies on the gateway to control what kind of traffic is coming in or going out of your network, right? So for a small network, for a small organization's network, this is how simple the network looks like. It's pretty straightforward, not too complicated. Now, when you speak of a large organization, right, at the enterprise level, where you have, say, a head office, you have branch office, right? You also have multiple data centers to be connected with. You also have people who are remotely working from home, like what we are all doing now, right? So in that case, the network complexity would increase, right? So there again, you need a firewall to be deployed on the head office and branch office. You need to have a VPN between head office network to the branch office network. You need to have a VPN from head office to your data centers, right? Users who are working from home will also be connecting via VPN to your organization network, right? So how do you configure these VPNs? How do you give permissions for a group of computers to have access to a specific set of services or specific set of URLs? How do you deny someone from accessing your servers? Or how do you permit them only to access certain services? This is all we are going to discuss in our second module using firewall and IPS, right? So not only configuring them, we will also be able to monitor via logs on what actually is happening in the network. And if something is wrong, say there is some kind of attack or users are trying to access some resources which are not authorizing them, using these logs, we will be able to identify that, right? So let me show you how does a firewall interface look like, right? So that we will be able to see how we can write some policies to control the user activities. Okay, so here I'm connecting to a Storm Shield UTM product. UTM stands for Unified Threat Management, which contains firewall and intrusion prevention system both. So it has both the functionality. So let me just log in. So once we log in, this is how we have the interface looking like, right? So let me take you to the policies, what I have written. So here I have some policies written where I'm permitting my LAN network users to access certain resources. So here you can see the policies. I'm permitting LAN network users to access certain services like HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP and all. But at the same time, when users are accessing HTTP or HTTPS, I'm also asking my device to implement some URL filters. That is, I don't want my organization employees to access certain websites or certain category of websites. Like say, I don't want them to access shopping websites when they are in office. Let them go back home and then access whatever the website they want. But as long as they're in the organization, they are working with this, I don't want them to waste their time and resources getting access to some social media websites or online shopping websites and all. So I've created a URL filter policy which says accessing this social media or online shopping websites will be restricted. And I'm also trying to implement antivirus inspection so that maybe if user is trying to download something from internet and if that file turns out to be a malware, that will be blocked, right? And in some organizations you may have a requirement that from your organization network, from your LAN computers, you should not be accessing resources hosted in certain regions. So you call them as geolocation based restrictions. So based on the location, you're not very specific about which URL or which website or what category of website. You say if that particular resource, it can be a website or email server or FTP or anything, if it is hosted in so and so country, that should not be permitted. So just for our understanding, I have written a policy here which says if request is initiated from one of our LAN computers trying to reach some website which is hosted in say China, should be restricted, right? So let me try to access some website. Now say I want to access zoomgroup.com, we'll see if we are able to access the web page or not. So here, as you can see, I'm able to access the website, so no restrictions. If I want to access something like, say, Microsoft.com, as you can see, I'm able to access that, no restriction. Now let's say I want to access something like eBay. So the moment I click on eBay, it says you're trying to access a website which falls under online shopping category, which has been restricted by the administrator. The administrator did not permit users to access online shopping websites, so that has been blocked. So if a user tries to access some URL which is restricted, user will not have access to that, that will be blocked. But if you are trying to access certain resources which are permitted, which are authorized, you will be able to access. Now in the same way, so here I have some websites which are hosted in China. So let me say I want to access this website. We'll see if we will be able to access that or not. So looks like I'm unable to access that. But how do we see if that website has really been blocked? So for that, as I said, we need to monitor the logs. So I'm going into the log. I'm trying to check if access to this particular website has been permitted or restricted. Okay, so here as you see, there's a request from one of my LAN computer with IP address as 192.168.10.10, and this is that computer. So 192.168.10.10 is this computer's IP, right? So from this computer, there was a request which is received by the firewall to reach this particular URL, eastday.com, right? Now, when the request is coming into this particular URL, your UTM device has identified that this site is hosted in China, and according to your existing policy, this should not be permitted. This has to be blocked, right? So here it says the action taken is block, right? And we can also see the same thing here. So it says the action taken is block when you are trying to access this particular URL. So this is how, using a firewall and maybe a UTM device or a next generation firewall, you will be able to write some policies and implement security into your network, right? So is this clear? Yes, Mr. Abdul, as you are asking, right? Yes, when you speak of majority of the security devices, like say firewalls or unified threat management, the next generation devices, right? Majority of them ask you to do configuration using a graphical interface. Yes, you'll be using a GUI to do this. Of course, there are certain firewalls which will ask you to do configuration through CLI, but that is when you are only discussing about a firewall, right? Okay. There's one main difference that we have to understand. When you speak of a firewall, the firewall is just trying to permit or block. So let's say this is a firewall. You have your LAN network and you have internet. Job of a firewall is only to either permit or deny traffic. So it only has two actions: either permit the traffic or deny the traffic. It cannot do anything else. Now, in my case, I have written a policy where I'm permitting LAN network users to access anything on internet for HTTP and HTTPS. So I'm permitting LAN network computers to reach internet for HTTP or HTTPS based websites. So everything is good. But I have another requirement. Irrespective of whether it is HTTP or HTTPS, if there is a request from LAN network computer trying to access anything hosted in, say, China, as per our policy there in the example which I've shown you, if they are trying to access something which is hosted in China, it has to be denied. So what we are trying to do in this particular case is we are trying to filter traffic. So we are not taking a decision on permit or deny. Already permit or deny for HTTP or HTTPS has been taken. Now out of that traffic, whatever is permitted, you are trying to filter traffic which is going to China. Or in the same case, I have also said, if you're trying to access a shopping website, shopping websites should be blocked. Now, even in this case, we are actually trying to implement filters, right? So unfortunately, when you speak of a simple firewall, it will not be able to do that. Firewall can only say, I will either accept or deny the traffic. It will not be able to filter the traffic from whatever is permitted. So this is where you are coming across new generation devices which are called as UTM or Unified Threat Management. So these devices will have firewall, intrusion prevention system, virtual private network, that is a VPN. Along with this, it also has some additional functionality like say URL filters, a gateway level anti-malware, gateway level anti-spam, bandwidth controls, which we call as quality of service, proper logging and reporting. When you include these many features, when you have all this kind of functionality, it will be difficult for you to go through command line and do the configuration. So that's the reason, right? Majority of your UTMs, they ask you to do the configuration through a graphical interface, right? If you are only speaking of this thing, only about a simple firewall, yes, you can do it through CLI. And generally, the older generation devices, we were not having a proper GUI and all. So we used to do everything through command line. But today the scenario has changed, right? You still have CLI for certain advanced troubleshooting, but majority of configurations, management, monitoring, you'll be doing it through a GUI. So things will be easy for you to see and understand what is actually going on there, right? Yeah. Okay, Mr. Faisal, Mr. Abdul, Mr. Krishna, and Mr. Mohammed, guys, is this clear? Right. Yeah. So this is what we are going to discuss in our second module of cybersecurity, that is proactive defense and countermeasures. How do we work with firewalls? How do we work with intrusion prevention systems? How do we implement content security into our network? How do we go with virtual private networks so that we have secure communication between multiple branches? And then how do we monitor all this traffic? Right. How do we monitor all the traffic? This is also in our second module, right?